Finally, a bill has passed for Social Security in the House of Representatives. So I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. If you're somebody that collects Social Security, SSI, SSDI, any of the fixed income benefits from the Social Security Administration, I'm going to get you caught up on the latest. Now, if you haven't heard, this passed in the House, and now it's moving on to the Senate. And in this video, we're going to be covering enhancements and increases to the benefits. I've got articles and video footage. And again, if you appreciate that, take a second, hit that like button, subscribe to stay up to date, and take a look at the latest headlines with me. Government acts on Social Security benefits. Finally announced the total change in benefits. Now, as I mentioned, this passed in the House about 2 weeks ago, and now it is going to be going on to the Senate, where they have a limited amount of time to act on this, as we are finally seeing some movement on Social Security. Take a look at this. Breaking. U.S. House passes Stamberger-Graves Social Security Fairness Act to eliminate the WEP and the GPO, provide long overdue fairness to police officers, firefighters, educators, and government employees. Now, this is great. They are going to enhance the benefits, but as I mentioned, what about increases for all? As you guys know, for quite some time now, we have been hearing the promises from the Biden administration that there would be increases to the benefits. Take a look. We should also increase monthly Social Security checks by $200 per month as proposed by Senators Wyden and colleagues. Seniors and people with disabilities are uniquely at risk right now. This coming back out in March of 2020. This was one of the main promises that was run by the Biden administration that got a lot of people on board with getting him in there, saying, hey, they're promising enhancements to the Social Security benefits, which never came to fruition. A lot of people very unhappy with the fact that that never materialized. And now, finally, we are 4 years in and we are seeing a Social Security bill getting some traction. However, I'm going to be sharing with you some video footage here, as what we're hearing is that not everybody is happy. And I'm going to share with you, this video came out about 2 weeks ago when the Social Security Fairness Act passed. Representative John Larson saying this is not okay, that those that depend on these fixed income benefits need major increases. What about those promises that we saw from the Biden administration of an additional $200 per month? What about making sure that all of the seniors that depend on this, that they get a fair share, what they have paid into for years? He says this is not, what do they call it? This is something that is earned. This is not something that is just given to them. And there's a word that's escaping me right now. I know you guys know the word. But he says we need to make sure that we are there for our seniors. Now, let me know your thoughts. If you're somebody that collects SSI, SSDI, Social Security, how would you like to see an increase across the board? If you like to see it, drop a 1 in the comments. If you think, no, we're good where we're at, drop a 2, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get a whole lot of 1s, because what we've been hearing is that inflation has been outpacing the cost of living adjustment increases, and it is not enough. It's not keeping up. And every time they poll people on Social Security, they say it is not enough to make sure that they are taken care of. Entitlement programs. Thank you, Ina. I see you with the comment. It is the entitlement. We keep hearing people say it's an entitlement program, and they are saying, no, it is not. It is earned. It is something that people have paid into. And in addition to that, why is it double taxed? Donald Trump saying he's going to rid Social Security of the double taxation. You pay taxes into Social Security as you are working, collecting income your entire life. And then when you pull it, you're taxed again. They're saying that this is not right. And so now, John Larson, he is saying it is good that we're finally seeing some traction here. However, this is not enough. We need more. And again, if you agree with John Larson, go ahead and drop a 1. If you think, no, we don't need to do any more, drop a 2. And while you're dropping those 1s, I have not seen any 2s. Don't forget to take a second and hit that like button for me if you appreciate the updates on Social Security. But let's start off and take a look at what John Larson has to say, and then I'm going to cover for you what is included in this Fairness Act and also where it's falling short. But they have a limited amount of time to act on this. So again, just to clarify, as you guys know, any piece of legislation, it has passed the House of Representatives. It now needs to also pass the Senate, and that is where we're waiting to see if they're going to bring this up and do a vote. If so, it would be the first time we're finally seeing some legislation done in Social Security in the entire Biden administration, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, I think nothing has been done for Social Security. So finally, we are getting some traction on this. I know a lot of people have been waiting for quite some time. We have seen bills presented over and over, promises. Nothing has materialized. Finally, we are seeing a vote coming up, and it is coming to fruition. But John Larson has been the champion of this, calling for Social Security reform, saying this is still not enough for those that depend on this. So let's go ahead and dive right in, get you guys caught up on the latest. Today's Sunday, November the 24th, 2024. Let's take a look at the video footage of what unfolded about 2 weeks ago so you can see it for yourself and where we are going from here. And again, hit that like button, subscribe to stay up to date. It's totally free. And let's take a look at what Larson has to say.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield myself as much time as I may consume, and want to start by acknowledging my good friend and colleague and thank him. I think his heart is in the right place. I think he's attempting, and let me say, having worked on this issue for a number of years, to have a Social Security, and in this case a portion of it, come to the floor, albeit under suspension and not through regular order, Mr. Speaker, is a step in the right direction. But the American people have got to be outraged by the fact that it's been over 50 years since Congress has adjusted Social Security. By that I mean enhanced Social Security for its recipients. Imagine that. And you think a few things have happened since Richard Nixon was President of the United States? Do you think a few things have happened, especially as we live in this post-COVID and now inflationary period? It impacts over 70 million of our fellow Americans. This provision that my colleague and good friend is talking about, WEP, is minuscule in terms of comparing that to individuals. And as well intended as I believe he is, this doesn't straighten out the problem. In our bill, Social Security 2100, we repeal WEP and GPO, and we pay for it. And that is the responsible thing that Congress has to do on behalf of the American people. Here's the facts. 70 million Americans rely on Social Security. And it's the nation's #1 anti-poverty program for the elderly, and the #1 anti-poverty program for children. More veterans rely on Social Security for disability than they do the VA. And Congress has done nothing to help these individuals out. Add to that, Mr. Speaker, the fact that 10,000 baby boomers a day become eligible for Social Security. What we need to do in today and in both of these bills that are come before us are steps forward, but we need to come together as a Congress and vote to fix Social Security in a manner that doesn't hurt or cut benefits for individuals that haven't seen a benefit enhancement in more than 50 years. And we come here today and say, here's a crumb. But even in the form of this crumb, this proposal will cut benefits for hardworking, everyday Americans. I respect my colleague, and I do believe that his heart is in the right place. But Congress, and both sides, have responsibility here. But perhaps now there is an opportunity for us to act. Perhaps the fact that even under suspension, not regular order with public hearings where viewers get to see and actually hear from expert witnesses and get to hear both the fiscal side of what needs to be paid for, but also the benefit side in terms of what has not been done. Imagine, my dear friend knows this, 5 million of our fellow Americans, and they're in Texas and they're in Connecticut, get below poverty level checks from their government. So it's great that you have a proposal for WIP, but 5 million people currently on Social Security get below poverty level checks from the wealthiest nation in the world and from a country that's had a program in place, but Congress hasn't acted in over 50 years. 5 million. Most of them are women, and most of them are women of color. Then there's more than 33 million who the only benefit that they have, the only thing that keeps them out of poverty is Social Security. And Congress hasn't acted since 1971?
Average house in America these days is about $400,000. The taxes on a house like that are going to...
And these people will be hurt by this proposal. Benefit cuts in a time of inflation. Ask your constituents back home, Mr. Speaker, whether or not they can afford this cut. Now, here's the other irony. Here we have one of the great economic development plans ever instituted by the United States Congress. That's right, an economic development plan, Social Security. How so? Every district on average has about 143,000 on average Social Security recipients. Every district monthly receives on average $200 million in cash coming into their district. In fact, my dear friend and colleague here, $222 million comes into your district on a monthly basis. And you have more than 95,000 retirees, 9,000 children who get money from Social Security, 10,000 widows, 4,800 spouses, and 14,000 disabled. And Congress has done nothing. Nothing. And these cuts that will take place because Congress hasn't stepped up and said we need to fund this program, not cut it. Some may argue, well, you know, back in '83 they did do something. But yeah, what they did is they raised the age. Another great proposal on the other side. For every year you raise the age, that's a 7% cut in benefits. So let's raise the age to age 70, the Republican Study Committee says. And what does that do? Cuts benefits by 21%. Aren't you glad that you worked hard and invested and put your money aside so that you could find out that, yeah, well, what we're going to do is raise the age so you work longer, and as you're living longer, we expect that you'll get less in retirement, not more. It makes no sense whatsoever. We need to come together as a Congress and vote to enhance the nation's #1 anti-poverty program for the elderly and for our children. I respect the good intentions that people have, but As they say, the road to hell oftentimes is paved with good intentions. And in this case, though, let's not talk about the parties. There's a lot of blame to go around here. How about we focus on the people, the American people, who we take an oath of office and swear to serve. And staring this Congress in the face is over 50 years of inaction and 70 million people who are impacted by this in what is the nation's #1 anti-poverty program for the elderly and for our children. I reserve my time.
The gentleman from Connecticut reserved.
There you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. That was John Larson saying that this is not enough. The Wellness and Fairness Act is great, but it is not enough. We need to see increases across the board. We need to see those promises fulfilled from the Biden administration that never came to fruition. He is saying, hey, let's get this done for the American people, our seniors, those on disability, those collecting SSI, our veterans, those that have been collecting these fixed income benefits and that rely on this. We need to be there, and we need to fulfill the promises that have been made. Now, let's discuss increases. Now, as you guys know, I shared with you that we had heard the promise of increases of $200 per month from current President Joe Biden, soon to be former President Joe Biden, and we never saw anything to come to fruition. Now, currently, we are seeing that the Social Security Fairness Act has passed the House of Representatives. Now, we need to see it pass the Senate in order for it to become law and become official. Now, this act here, this is going to expand. It says act to eliminate the WEP and GPO, so it'll expand the benefits that are long overdue for police officers, firefighters, educators, government employees. It's going to be changing the calculations and expanding this benefit so that way more people can get this. However, he is saying here very clearly, you heard him say, it is not enough. We need to expand it like the promises we had formerly seen from Joe Biden. Now, in addition to that, we are hearing now that Donald Trump is going to be coming into office. Trump has also promised that there will be no taxes on Social Security benefits. Now, it's too soon to plan on the changes, experts are saying, because, as we mentioned, he must work with Congress. Now, the Republicans have full control of the House, of the Senate, and of the presidency, but they do not have a supermajority in the Senate, so they must work across the aisles with Democrats to get this passed, to see if there can be any form of an additional increase. Now, I say additional because, as you guys know, there is going to be the cost of living adjustment increase that will be added on top of your benefits at the end of the year, and that is in the form of 2.5%. A lot of people very unhappy with this, as previous years we've seen some record high increases, but now going into 2025, Social Security sets its 2025 COLA increase to 2.5%. Here's how it will change for your benefits. Now, this came out back in October when we heard the increase was announced. So you will be seeing across the board a 2.5% increase. This is based on the CPIE, the Consumer Price Index, urban wage earners and clerical workers for quarter 3. After all of the CPI information came in, they determined that inflation, in order to keep up with it, they would need a 2.5% COLA increase. Here you can see 2025, 2.5%. But you can see last year, 3.2. The year before that, 8.7. And before that, 5.9. There have been some major increases trying to keep up with inflation. So these increases have been huge. It says this year, the average monthly benefit payment for retirees is going to be $1,927, according to the Social Security Administration. After the 2.5% increase, that will rise to $1,976 per month. Married couples who both collect Social Security will see an average benefit rise to $3,089, up from $3,014. So modest increases coming across the board. And as I mentioned, this is for all categories, SSI, SSDI. There will be this 2.5% increase. However, they are saying that this is significantly lower than what we have seen in previous years. A lot of people not as happy with that. However, we're going to see, as now it looks like finally Social Security is starting to get some traction, some attention. We're seeing this legislation making its way through Congress, and we're also seeing Donald Trump mentioning this as well. So, like I said, I'm going to keep you up to date on this. Tiffany Collier, thank you for the $50 super chat. Thank you for your generosity, Steve. I just want to know that I want you to know that I appreciate everything that you do for everybody, keeping us up to date, keeping us in the know. I'm so grateful. Thank you. God bless you and your family. Thank you for your generosity and the super chat. I appreciate that a ton. God bless you. I will continue to keep you up to date on everything. I know a lot of people have been asking me about Social Security, and I've let them know when something comes, I will keep you guys up to date. It's just right now, I have not seen a whole lot. Now, in the past 2 weeks, we did see that bill pass. This is good progress for Social Security. It passed in the House. Now it has to go to the Senate, and they have a limited time to pass it in the Senate. I will keep you up to date on that. Also, James Archie, thank you for the $5 super chat. Thank you for your hard work, what you do on this channel. Chicagoans for Trump. Appreciate that $5 super chat. I will continue to keep you up to speed on everything, James. And right now, though, the threat of World War III, cyber attacks, all the things that are taking place right now seem to be taking the center stage. I will keep you guys up to speed on everything, but we are hearing there is some movement now on Social Security, and Donald Trump has mentioned it quite a bit as well, saying there should be no double taxation. If you are collecting Social Security, you should not be paying taxes on that Social Security. In addition to that, we've heard increases. John Larson saying we need increases. This expansion from the Fairness Act is great, but it is falling short of what is needed. He mentions the 2100 Act. We've seen the Bernie Sanders Social Security Expansion Act in the past. So we will see if any of these come to the forefront, come to the table for votes. And like he said, this is good progress forward, but it is still not enough. But we are seeing some traction on Social Security. So if you collect retirement, SSI, SSDI, any of the fixed income benefits from the Social Security Administration, stay tuned to the channel. We'll see if there are any more updates coming out, and I will let you know here as soon as it does. In addition to that, these articles are linked in the description, and I'm going to cite all the sources, and I'll let you know any updates as they unfold. And if you appreciate that, do me a favor, take a quick second if you haven't done so yet, hit the like button, subscribe to stay up to date, and I will keep you up to speed on everything. But that is the latest, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.